Hello everybody and welcome to Cop For That. I am your host Mark Dutton. So let's get to the team news from Liverpool versus Manchester City at Anfield. We went with our Brazilian international Alisson in goal. We went with a change back four of Lovren in the centre, the greatest centre half the world has ever seen, in Virgil van Dijk. Got you there, didn't I? Lovren and Van Dijk in the middle. Robinson left back. And he went with Joey Gomez right back, dropping Trent Alexander-Arnold. We'll discuss Trent in a little bit. Midfield three, Wijnaldum, Milner, Hendo. Front three, Salah, Bobby Firmino, and Sadio Mane. So, we start the game really well against Manchester City. This is probably our biggest test of the season. We've gone to Tottenham and we've won. We've gone to Stamford Bridge and we've got a draw thanks to the magnificence of Daniel Sturridge. So, with teams at the top of the table, you got the likes of Liverpool, Man City. Now you got Arsenal, you got Tottenham, and you got Chelsea. I mean, they're the big five. Nobody's seen Manchester United. They've fallen off that cliff with Jose Mourinho just driving the bus right off the cliff with all his players in there. So the first 20 minutes we play really well. We pass when we move. We're solid. We're disciplined. Gomez sits and we're very defensive. But there's only one man that Pep Guardiola, the Manchester City coach, will change his beliefs for, and that is Jurgen Klopp. He did it when Pep was the manager of Bayern Munich and Klopp was the manager of Borussia Dortmund, and he picked up 2 titles there, Jurgen Klopp, with his style of play. And Pep came into the league, and even with his first season, the City being so tough, and he seemed like he was losing his mind. He told the media, he told his players, listen, I am not going to change my beliefs. I'm going to play attacking football. So he's done that, and he's had success in England doing that. But obviously he's had zero success against Jurgen Klopp. And Liverpool basically don't lose to Manchester City at home. We beat them basically every time. City's main striker in Sergio Aguero, one of the best players in the world, probably City's greatest ever player, doesn't score at Anfield and has never scored at Anfield. So how did Pep approach the game? Liverpool went a little bit more defensive, and Man City basically did exactly the same thing. I think both managers went into the situation and said, before a ball is kicked, we're both happy with a point, and if we can get out with a point, we'll remain top of the league. So, long story short, we've got 3 teams right now top of the league. So let's just be real. 3 teams can't be top of the league. So Manchester City are in first place, Liverpool are in third place, and Chelsea are in second place. And it all boils down to goal difference. I was a little upset with the shake of hands at half-time against Southampton when we were 3-0 up. I thought that was a game that we could have really kicked on and put 4, 5, maybe 6 goals in, and I said that at the time. So I was a little bit disappointed we didn't do that, because at the end of the day, if you're going to lose league titles on goal difference, on 1 point here, 1 point there, these games might come back to bite Liverpool in the butt, where we should have destroyed Southampton and we only come away over 3-0. So very similar to the second half of that game, where they kind of shook hands at half time and just said, listen, let's just take the 3-0, and both teams relaxed. This was a very similar game. You can't really mention the attacking players that were on the field. They were really irrelevant because of the standard of football that the defenders played. And I would also say the assurance of both goalkeepers. They don't have to make saves in this game. Easy ones that you would expect them to make. Both teams have 2 shots on target throughout the game. 6 and 7 shots in total. So there really wasn't much going on in the final third of the field for either team. Defensively, Man City were incredible. Their shape was incredible. Without saying they parked the bus, he came with a plan, Pep Guardiola, and he executed it magnificently. There was a shout for a penalty in the first half, which I didn't get, where Lovren makes a phenomenal diving header. It's great to see him back, by the way. Phenomenal diving header. And then Gomez kind of hooks it back in to Aguero's feet, who's on the edge of the 6, and he there's a coming together where Lovely kind of puts his foot in, doesn't touch Aguero for me, and Aguero falls down. But Aguero doesn't claim for the penalty. He jumps back up, he tries to turn, and we defend it. Second half was the key point of the game. Liverpool made a couple of substitutions. We lose James Milner through injury, and Naby Keita comes on. But we've shackled Naby Keita in respect to the runs and the movements that we know he can make. We don't get to see them because he's asked to take on James Milner's responsibilities of pressuring, of defending, of staying in shape, and not allowing Man City to break Liverpool's lines. So, like I said, it shackled him to a degree. So he didn't really have the impact that he had when he came on against Chelsea. I think when he came on against Chelsea, he was making those runs. He was linking up with the front three, and he made a huge difference. So to see him in that role was a little troubling for me. You know, Fabinho is another one that comes on and anchors the midfield late on. But it all boils down to one decision. And it was a decision that the manager made in relation to Pep Guardiola. You know, coming here, 3 points is huge. If Liverpool would lose this game, this really, puts a marker down for Manchester Manchester City's season as a whole. Wow. Whew, my God. I'll take. So, ball goes down the left. And Virgil van Dijk was magnificent, as was the rest of the Liverpool defence for the entire game. I'm talking about the defending side, I'm not talking about the attacking side. And it's a one-on-one with Leroy Sané, who comes on as the sub for Manchester City, and I think he's a fantastic player. You know, if there's two players I would like to see Liverpool acquire, I like Son for Tottenham, and I like Sané from Manchester City. I think they're phenomenal players that would be brilliant in our team and in Klopp's style of play. He goes down the left, and he's kind of going out of pitch, to be honest with you. He gets into the 18, he's wide left, but he looks like he's about to shoot, and Van Dijk goes to ground, which was an error. I think he thought that Sané, very similar to the goal he scored last season, was going to smash the ball across the goalkeeper and take the goal, beating Alisson. So he goes to ground, there's a coming together, he kind of slides here, he looks like he may touch the ball, but they kind of come together, he falls down. It's a penalty I've seen given, it's a penalty I've seen not given. On this occasion, the referee gives the penalty. There's only a couple of minutes left. So here's where the decision making of a coach happens. I've been in this situation as a coach as well, where I've changed the penalty taker from the person who looks like they want to take it, and I've missed. And then that comes back on me, and that comes back on the coach, 100%. And Pep Guardiola knew this. So Jesus, going back in time again there, Jesus goes to the spot and he stands on the spot. He expects to take this penalty as the striker. Now, Sergio Aguero's gone off as a sub. Sergio Aguero obviously is like, oh my God, here's my opportunity to score, because he would have took that penalty 100% for me. But obviously he's been substituted, so he's shaking his head and he's like, I'd have took this, I'd have broke that, I could have won this game, scored at Anfield, first time in my playing career, being able to do that would have been huge. So Jesus has stood on the spot waiting for the ball. And this time, there's great gamesmanship by Alisson. Alisson's having a drink, he's looking around at the Anfield Road end, he's looking at the sky, he checks his water bottle again, he's trying to get more out of it. It's very clever from Alisson. So, as Jesus is looking for the ball, Mendy kind of walks over to Jesus and says, the gaffer's just said that Mahrez is going to take this kick. Mahrez is our record signing, Mahrez, you're going to take the kick. And Jesus is kind of like, you what? And he's kind of pushed away off the spot by Mendy. The gaffer said that Mahrez is going to take it. So the ball goes down on the spot. Now, what you don't see on television is John Achterberg, our goalkeeper coach, is doing all kinds on the sideline. He's throwing all types of shapes trying to get Alisson's attention. And he's telling Alisson, he's going, listen, Mahrez is going to go high to your right. So go high to your right, and you'll make a save. And he's flying, he's giving him all kinds of that, and Alisson clocks him, and he's like, alright, yeah, good. So up steps Mahrez to win the game for Manchester City at Anfield, put City clear top of the English Premier League. And he hits it goalward, there's the goal, he hits it, Alisson gets it the right way, Alisson dives full stretch, and I tell you what, he dives low to the right, his arm is nearly touching the crossbar. And our boy, the former Leicester City League Championship winner, blasts the ball Chrissy Waddle style out of the stadium. Just keeps going. And again, Very similar to the end of the Chelsea game where we score with Daniel Sturridge and we get the points. It feels like a victory because the cheer on that occasion as Sturridge scores was insane. Obviously, it's a tying goal for a 1-1 with Chelsea. But the cheer when Mahrez kicks the ball out the stadium is just as loud and feels like a victory. So we shake hands on 0-0. That is really the only talking point of the game. Who stood out on the pitch for us today? Well, it was definitely the back four. Defensively, we were fantastic. Gomez was a rock. First half, we missed Trent Alexander's attacking play because City sat so far off, and I don't know that Klopp was expecting Pep to sit so deep. There's a scene in the first few minutes where he's screaming Pep Guardiola at Kyle Walker, and he's going off his brain because he's attacking. And Pep's like, I don't want you doing that. I want you to sit in. I want you to defend. I'm all right with 0-0. I'll take 0-0. And that's exactly what he got out of the game. So he obliterates Walker, and he's pissed. The first 20 minutes, Liverpool are definitely up on the game. I would say Man City edged it over the course of the game. Their quality is just ever present. I mean, we're good with a misfire in front three. That did, again, really nothing. Salah looked a little bit more involved. But it was a case of when Salah gets the ball, let's smash him. Let's not let Salah take a good, positive first touch. Let's always have him under pressure. Not allow Salah to breathe for a second. That's kind of the way Man City went at this game. Shackled him. So very similar to the way Chelsea handled Salah. They just shackled him, stopped him playing to the point where he substituted. Well, he wasn't subbed on this game or on this day. But Degsy Lovren, Van Dijk, other than the two dodgy penalty decisions, were phenomenal. Alisson didn't have anything to do. Laporte for Manchester City, my God, what a performance. He was my man of the match. It's very rare that I give an opposing player the man of the match against the mighty Reds, but Laporte was just absolutely superb. Like, he was gold. I didn't realise that he was that good. So that was it, really. Just going back to the Napoli game, I haven't done it. I didn't do a cop for that off the back of that Champions League game, and I'll tell you why. It wasn't broadcast in America, so obviously I'm living in New Jersey, USA, and I see all the games basically, other than the one that they came over and played against Manchester City, which is a friendly. I see them, watching them on television. There was nothing in relation to Champions League coverage over here for that game for Liverpool, so I didn't see it. I had to go to the depths of asking my friend Nibsy, all right Nibsy, how are you, mate? Can you put your phone next to the TV so I can listen to the match? That's because I couldn't even get radio commentary of the match. So that's how I listened to the game. And let's be honest, it was an absolute dog of a game. We've not seen any highlights. We've not seen anything, and I don't think I want to be honest with you. We lost in the last second, and it was probably what we deserved over the course of the game. I feel like we created nothing. I feel like Napoli were much the better team. So if you were going to tell me right now, Liverpool would be third in the league, level on points with first Manchester City and second Chelsea, undefeated, with not one loss, I'd bit your hand off. The best is yet to come from this team. I truly believe that. I think we're going to get better and better. When I think back to last season, when the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain weren't playing, we bought him for 35 million plus. Wasn't in the team, wasn't getting a kick. Robinson wasn't getting a kick. There was talk this time last season that Robinson was going to go out on loan. He was going to maybe leave in January. It looked like Klopp didn't like him, didn't want him. For me, he's just really clever in the way he brings in players. He brings them in, and our squad is so good right now that I don't think it's a matter of not trusting these players. I feel like he wants to work with them for a number of months, get 12 to 14 weeks under their belt and then play them. I feel like the likes of Shaqiri and Daniel Sturridge are going to get a lot of minutes coming up into the next few games. Our next game is away against Huddersfield. It should be a good game. It's going to be a phenomenal atmosphere down there. But then we have quite an easy ride of it. Excuse me. Other than the Champions League games, actually the two Champions Leagues we've got games are pretty easy as well. So we should go on another run right now of winning, I would say, the next 6 games before we get the likes of Arsenal and Everton, the Merseyside derby, which are always going to be tough games coming up in December. So I'm very positive that we are where we are right now. I think we can definitely push Chelsea and Manchester City in the title race. I honestly see this Chelsea side going far. If they can keep Hazard, because there's rumours that he's going to leave and go to Real Madrid in January, which is possible. If they can keep him, they'll really, really, really test City as well as Liverpool. But I don't think they will. I think he's gone in January. I think they've agreed that. I think they've shook hands and said, "Listen, let us go. Let me go." It's very similar to the Coutinho situation last year. You know, he stayed. He obviously didn't want to be there. Hazard isn't making those grumblings, but if he came out, I think today, and he said, you know, moving to Real Madrid would be a dream. And I think once you say that, I think it's over. You know, looking at the likes of Suarez and Coutinho and Alonso and Mascherano, you know, players that we've lost to the superpowers of world football, you can say. They've all come out and said it's been a dream of mine to play there, and then they leave. So I think he'll go, and I think it'll be between Liverpool and City for the title. Again, I believe Man City will win the league, but I think Liverpool, if we can bridge that gap down to 5 or 6 points, I think it's going to be a successful season. Maybe go a little bit further in the Champions League this year. I mean, further than the final, winning it, maybe possible. And I'd like to see an FA Cup run. So I think, again, the likes of Fabinho, the likes of Keita, the likes of Shaqiri are going to get a lot of minutes in the next few games. I think it'll be a nice rest for these players. Again, we've got another stupid international break, which I don't like, where our players are off on international duty. Hopefully they all come back fit, safe and strong. All right, so like I said, this has been Cop for That, a review and a look back of the game against Manchester City at Anfield recently. Like I said, players are off on international duty. If you like the video, please put a like on the video. Subscribe to Cop to That on the YouTube channel and like Cop for That on Facebook. All right, this has been Mark Dutton. Ta-ra for now, everybody. Ta-ra for now. Ta-ra. And you'll never walk alone.